I have to admit, when I first jumped into LEGO Horizon, I was a little disappointed, but I'm glad I waited a couple of extra days before finishing this review to play more with the review code PlayStation sent me, because as I spent more time with the game, I realized it had more to offer than I initially thought. I'm happy to say now that I've genuinely been enjoying my time with LEGO Horizon Adventures, and I think there's a good chance you will too, as long as you understand what you're getting. First off, the game looks excellent graphically. I've played LEGO Harry Potter and LEGO Star Wars quite a bit, and LEGO Horizon is a massive upgrade compared to those from a visual standpoint. And playing on my base PS5 for about 8 hours, I'm also happy to report I didn't experience a single bug. I can't speak to the performance on Switch or PC, although as an Unreal Engine 5 title, I know it's fairly demanding on PC. Believe it or not, the recommended specs for LEGO Horizon are actually higher than for Forbidden West and the new Zero Dawn remaster. That just goes to show how fantastic Guerrilla's Decima engine is, which is what the main games are built on. Interestingly, being built on Unreal also means LEGO is the first Horizon game with ray tracing. As stunning as the main games are, they haven't adopted that tech yet, but with the right hardware on PC, you'll actually get ray-traced global illumination and reflections in LEGO. The PS5 Pro should be able to offer those enhancements as well, although it seems like a patch still needs to be pushed out to enable the Pro mode. Horizon fans will also find it amusing that LEGO Aloy can get a fully functional shield, one-upping her main series alter ego with the Shellwalker shield gadget. And gadgets are definitely my favorite feature in this game. See, each character you can choose to play as has their own unique set of weapons, like Aloy with her bows, Varl with his spears, and Tirsa with her infinite baskets of explosive bombs. And there's a handful of special weapon types for each of these characters you can find while playing. Like Aloy can get fire and frost bows, and Aaron can get this really cool earthquake hammer. But all those weapons are character specific, so there's also a bunch of cool gadgets that any character can pick up as a secondary weapon. One of my favorites, the blast boots, let you double jump over enemies while firing flames down on them. And if you can manage to do it right over a machine's canisters, they'll actually trigger an explosion and deal a bunch more damage. I also really like the Hunter's Decoy gadget that pops up a fake Aloy to distract the machines, and the rush boots that let you zip around super fast. And there are a bunch more. I've also definitely enjoyed getting some laughs from the cheeky banter and playful renditions of iconic scenes and characters. To be perfectly honest, the jokes didn't always land for me, but I think the younger audience this game is targeting would probably find most of it pretty funny. Actually, some of the funniest moments for me were just listening to the cultists while hiding in the grass. They've got some pretty good lines they'll say at random, so I would definitely recommend eavesdropping on them.
Never thought I'd end up in a cult, but I just hate coming up with my own ideas so much. Like, what if I'm wrong?
I'll also say that for some reason, the first hour or so of the game felt kind of slow to me. I think that was because most of the cool gameplay mechanics, like those gadgets, didn't get introduced until a little later. I've also really enjoyed hearing Ashley Birch voice a more joyful Aloy, and I was actually also pleasantly surprised with how involved the other characters are. I particularly found the no BS go-getter grandma version of Tirsa pretty funny.
I wish my grandchildren were this thoughtful.
But sometimes breaks for conversations that are intended to carry the narrative forward felt pretty long. In a game like this, I really just want to play. And of course, kids are going to have much less patience than me. You can skip conversations, so that's good, but I would have preferred if the conversations happened while allowing me to continue playing at the same time. Kind of like how you can continue doing stuff when Aloy is talking with someone on her focus in the main games. There's a few other things I've really enjoyed that I want to share as well, but I have a few critiques I think you should know about first. In LEGO Harry Potter and Star Wars, which were sort of my baseline for LEGO games going into this, you can break pretty much everything except the floor, and a core part of the gameplay is destroying stuff to collect studs. To me, that destructibility is really fun, and feels like an essential part of any LEGO game. There are objects to bust up in LEGO Horizon, but they felt very sparse, and there don't seem to be any of those rare blue or super rare purple studs you find in other LEGO games, which were always a nice little dopamine hit. In those other games, I also really enjoyed exploring and solving puzzles to find find new character studs. In LEGO Horizon, you do of course unlock characters you can play as, like Varl and Erend, but they're just handed to you. And yes, lots of cosmetics are available at the lodge, which actually does have a lot of fun options. But just buying those from a menu doesn't feel nearly as rewarding as finding them out in the world. I think discovering character studs and cosmetics out in the wilds would have been a lot more fun. Like, imagine finding a Watcher character stud and realizing you can actually replay levels as a machine, or being able to play as an Eclipse cultist to access areas you normally can't. There are a few things that require going back with another character, but not many of them, and they felt mostly insignificant. I'm also not the biggest fan of how dying in this game sends you back a little ways to respawn with a loading screen. You have to go through any dialogue and cutscenes again, which gets annoying if you die multiple times. And even more annoying, all the studs you just collected in the area have to be collected again. I much prefer the instant respawn system in other LEGO games where you just drop all the studs you're currently holding and can get right back in the action. Now, dying isn't quite as bad when you play co-op because at least your partner can revive you, and co-op is definitely a big positive for this game. My wife and I have played a few hours of couch co-op so far, and I also tested out the online mode with Chaz, which worked pretty much seamlessly for us. I'll link Chaz's channel below, by the way, if you aren't already familiar with his Horizon content. Unfortunately, online co-op is not cross-platform, so you'll need a friend on the same platform as you. That one isn't a huge deal to me, but what I don't like about co-op is the lack of NPC companions and a dynamic split screen. In those other LEGO games, when you play alone, the second character follows you around as an NPC, who you can take control of anytime, which you sometimes actually need to do in order to solve a puzzle or access an area with their special ability. But even just the fact that they follow you around actually does a lot to make it feel like you've got a buddy hanging out with you. In LEGO Horizon, you can choose which character you want to play as at the start of each mission, but then no one comes with you, which feels like a missed opportunity in a game like this. The other thing that's really strange is the lack of a dynamic split screen for co-op. Again, in other LEGO games, if you get far away from your partner, the game goes into a split screen view so both players can keep exploring. If you try that in LEGO Horizon, the view zooms out for a bit, but then when player 2 gets too far away, they just get teleported back to player 1, which is super annoying for player 2. It's not so bad because there isn't a whole lot for you and your partner to explore separately, but that's actually another downside for me. I wish there were more secret rooms and areas to discover. So those are my critiques, but there are more things I liked as well. Like, I was surprised by how much customization is available in Mother's Heart. And if you're into this sort of thing, I think it'll be a big plus for you. You can add all sorts of buildings and decorations and even change the colors of many of them. You can also completely alter the ground under the village if you want to really change up the look. And many of the structures you can build actually do let you interact with them, like this obstacle course you can jump around on. A lot of reviews seem to ignore this, but I think it's worth mentioning that the music is really great as well. Of course, it's much lighter and more playful compared to the main games, but it continues to be really high quality. And somehow, even though it's more jaunty, it still gives me hints of the main game's soundtracks. I also find the LEGO machines really cool and fun to fight. They've got a variety of cool attacks that keep you on your toes, and like the main games, there's a focus on weak points you'll want to target for increased damage. I could actually see the positioning required to hit these being a bit of a challenge for younger kids though, and that's a big part of why I think the best audience for LEGO Horizon is families who want to play co-op. I really think co-op is the most fun way to play this game, and while the mechanics are greatly simplified compared to the main games, a young player could probably use some help here and there so they don't get too frustrated. So if you're a fan of the main games and you've got a young gamer in your life, I think LEGO Horizon offers a perfect bonding experience for you. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely fun solo too, but I think co-op between an adult and child, or maybe an older and younger sibling, is really where it shines. If you're interested in a lighthearted, playful take on the Zero Dawn story for yourself, want to share Horizon with a child in your life, or are just looking for a fun family game, I think LEGO Horizon is a great option. And I genuinely hope it's successful enough to warrant a sequel that could adopt some of the elements of other LEGO games like Harry Potter and Star Wars. For me, that would take the LEGO Horizon experience to the next level.